So those are the basic concepts and basic approaches to implement the replication. So you don't have to by heart those implementation, but you need to get an idea of what is called a remote distribution and what is called a central publication and multiple subscribers. And you have to know that central subscriber and multiple publication. So those are the general ideology and approaches. So as a DBA, if somebody will come, or maybe your management team will ask you to the best approach to implement the replication technique, then you have to come across those and you have to implement based on the users, based on the volume, and based on the request. So now let's talk about the types of replication. So from this slide, what we can do is we will talk with a snapshot replication first, then we will go to the demo directly, then we will go with other replications. So here there are three types of replications, which is called as a snapshot replication, transactional replication, and merge replication. So the snapshot replication, the word terminology itself is giving you the basic idea that we are getting the data from the source and dump it into the distribution as a snapshot. So the snapshot replication distribute the data exactly as it is from the source to the distribution server. So as soon as if you implement any replication, either transactional or merge, you are going to do it. But first you have to implement a snapshot replication. So the snapshot replication is the major first step to implement to generate any other replication process. So first our job is to get the data from the publisher and push and distribute the data into the distribution server. So to play that, the snapshot agent will major role, and you have to implement the snapshot replication. So the snapshot replication is nothing but get the data as exactly from the source and generate and load the data into the distribution server. And when we need to implement the snapshot replication instead of other replication process, because there is a approach. For example, if I am not updating my data very often, like I'm updating the data once in a month on maybe end of the month, then I don't need to implement any other replications, because once in a month, then I can run just snapshot replication. Then the SQL Server will get the data from the source and it's generate the snapshot and push it into the distribution, and the distribution will send the data to the subscriber. So the snapshot agent will helpful when you are not changing the data very frequently from the source. So then you can implement the snapshot replication. So the snapshot replication, it will accept the same as it is copies of the data from the source and generate and load into that. And another process also, for example, some users or maybe management team will come and they want to generate and view the historical data information. So in that scenario also you can apply the snapshot replication, because the volume is huge, and basically you don't need to do any other replication because the data is not changing. Just they want to review the historical for the data warehousing or analytical purpose, then you can implement the snapshot replication for that process. So basically you can see here that when you implement the snapshot replication, that first publisher, we will get the select the articles and publications from this publisher server. Then once the snapshot agent will get the data from here and dump into the snapshot files. So first we are going to take a look how the snapshot agent is going to work. So as soon as if I run my snapshot agent will create a snapshot files into the snapshot folder. So this folder will contain all my schemas like table structures and also the data, and also all the selected particular article information will stored in a folder in the format of snapshot files. So once those files are generated, then my snapshot, the distribution agent it will send the data into the subscriber. So this is the typical process for the snapshot replication. When we create a distribution process, the distributor will create a database called as a distribution database. So the distribution database will store all the snapshot related information. Not only that, if you implement any transaction replication, all the data which is occurred, anything from the publisher, it will store that information into the distribution database. Then the distribution database will send the data from that distributor to the subscriber through the distribution agent. So one key important question you have to remember that when I implement the snapshot replication, what are the jobs will create, what are the agents create. So here it will create the snapshot agent, and you can see here it will create a distribution agent. So these two agents will create when you implement the snapshot replication. So this is one of the important interview question. You should have to know how many agents created during the snapshot replication. And as I mentioned that when we implement the snapshot agent will prepare all the snapshot files which is containing all the tables, database objects, and it will store in a file format. Then the distribution agent will get the data from that distribution database and send across the multiple subscribers. And other than the snapshot, those two jobs, it will create another SQL jobs which are called as agent checkup and transaction cleanup and history cleanup. So these jobs will use to maintain the maintenance for the replication process. If any transactions are outdated or particular history, it crossed a particular deadline, then it will clean up the transaction and historical data.